Welcome to Psychiatric Nursing Lecture. Today we are entering in a new unit, mood disorders. So in this video we are going to focus depression disorders. So this is the part 1 video for depression disorder. Let's see the basics of depression disorder. So everyone occasionally feels blue or sad, but these feelings are usually short-lived and pass within a couple of days. When you have depression, it interferes with your day life and causes pain for both of you and those who care about you. Depression is a common, but it is a serious illness. So, with this basic idea, let's enter inside the topic. The mood disorders are a group of disorders. They are considered to be the primary disturbances of mood. Mood disorder mainly affects the mood of a person. So in mood disorder, the term the designating a group of diagnosis in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorder. According to DSM-4 text revision, mood disorder is not a single disorder; it is a group of disorder. So DSM-4 text revision classification is based on the person who is have disturbance in the mood, and the following hypothesis states that there are two groups of mood disorders. The division is based on whether the person has ever had a manic or hypomanic episode. So sometimes, apart from the depression, there are other type of disorder in which they will be in a state of manic, that is excessive happiness, or to a state of hypomanic episodes also. Now let's see the major depression disorder, MDD, the major depressive disorder. Commonly it is known as clinical depression or also known as major depression. Other name, this is the other name, clinical depression or major depression. There is one more disorder called bipolar disorder, which is formerly known as manic depression because bi means two, polar, two ends. Patient will have two type of disorder at same time. One is manic, another one is depression. So it is characterized by intermittent episodes of mania or hypomania. So in the bipolar disorder, either manic phase or hypomanic phase is interlaced with the depressive episodes. So this is about bipolar disorder, which have depressive episodes. Along with that, there will be either manic episode or hypomanic episode. But major depressive disorder is a unipolar disorder, which will have only depression. It is otherwise called as clinical depression or major depression. So basically, how we can classify the mood disorders. This is not the classification of depression. This is a classification of mood disorder. All mood disorders can be classified either as primary mood disorders or secondary mood disorders. The primary mood disorders have a vast subtypes. The primary mood disorders are again classified into depressive disorders. Based on the severity of the depressive disorders, we are classifying the depressive disorders as mild depressive disorders, moderate depressive disorders, severe depressive disorders, and psychotic depressive disorders. The second type of primary mood disorder is dysthymia. This is less severe form of depressive disorder. The another primary mood disorder is a bipolar affective disorder, BPAD, bipolar affective disorder. So this is two types. One is bipolar 1 disorder, another one is bipolar 2 disorder. There is another form of disorder called cyclothymia. This is comes under bipolar disorder. Depressive disorder and dysthymia comes under unipolar disorder. So in the bipolar disorder, we have two types. One is bipolar affective disorder, another one is cyclothymia. The secondary mood disorder, this is occurring because of any other causes, not because of psychological or psychiatric cause. This is because of other causes, like you have any illness in your body, that illness can lead to depression. So that is called secondary mood disorder. Now let's see somewhat detail about the primary mood disorder. The primary mood disorder, as I stated, it can be either unipolar disorder, which includes depressive disorder and dysthymia, or bipolar disorder. It can be a bipolar affective disorder or cyclothymia. Now let's see on unipolar disorder. In unipolar disorder, according to the ICD-10 classification of depressive disorders, there are four types. Have we already seen that? Mild, moderate, severe, and psychotic depressive disorders. These all comes under depressive disorders. These depressive disorders are four types: mild, moderate, severe, and psychotic depressive disorder. So if the patient had more than one episodes of depressive disorder, the term recurrent depressive disorder is used. So what is recurrent depressive disorder? If the patient have more than one episodes of depressive disorder in his life, that disorder is called as recurrent depressive disorder. Now, in DSM-4 classification, the major depression is the word used instead of depressive disorder. Depressive disorder is not used nowadays. We are saying the depressive disorder in a name major depression. This major depression is subclassified as single episode depression or recurrent episode depression. So not all the people suffering from depression symptoms will have depressive symptoms. Not all the people who are suffering from depression will have depressive symptoms. Now you see dysthymia. Dysthymia can be characterized by depressive symptoms that are not sufficiently severe to meet the diagnosis of depressive disorder. That means dysthymia is less severe form of major depression. Dysthymia does not have the criteria of depressive disorders. For diagnosing depressive disorder, we need some criteria. These criteria are not present in the dysthymia to diagnose. Then that condition is called as dysthymia. This is the very mild form, we can say. This is not severe form. Easily we can treat dysthymia. Now the next one is bipolar mood disorder. According to International Classification of Disorder 10th, that is ICD-10, bipolar affective disorder consists of repeated two or more episodes of depression and mania or hypomania. So, in bipolar disorder, there will be repeated one or two times, two or more times, they should have depression. Along with that, mania or hypomania should be present in a client. Then that condition is called as bipolar affective disorder, BPAD. In the absence of episodes of mania or hypomania, then we can diagnose that is a recurrent depressive disorder. Already I told you, recurrent depressive disorder is a condition when the depressive symptoms are occurring repeatedly in a patient more than two times. So without mania and hypomania, if the depressive episodes occurring more than two times, that condition is called as recurrent depressive disorder. Now, in the absence of episode of depression, the diagnosis can be either bipolar affective disorder or it can be a hypomania. Hypomania is less severe form of mania. Bipolar affective disorder, major problem will be that is mania. Mania problem are more common in this condition, but here there is no depression. Now let's see the type of bipolar disorder. According to DSM-4, the bipolar disorder can be diagnosed after even a single episodes of mania, whereas ICD-10 says that a single episode of mania is simply diagnosed as manic episode. According to DSM-4, what we are saying bipolar disorder, bipolar affective disorder is diagnosed even in a single episode of mania. So based on the DSM-4, bipolar affective disorder, two types, one is bipolar 1 disorder, another one is bipolar 2 disorder. Bipolar 1 disorder, it is consist of mania episodes as well as major depression episode. So bipolar 1 disorder is very severe form. We will have manic episode as well as major depression episode. Whereas bipolar 2 disorder will contains only less form of mania, that is hypomania and major depression. So I will explain this in a diagram so you can clearly understand that in bipolar 1 disorder the mania is present, and there is also major depression, severe depression is present. Whereas in bipolar 2 disorder, patient will have severe depression and there is no mania, there is only hypomanic stage. So this is the difference between bipolar 1 disorder and bipolar 2 disorder. Now come to the primary mood disorder. The first one is cyclothymia. The cyclothymia can be described as mild chronic bipolar affective disorder. So how the dysthymia is a mild depressive disorder, like that cyclothymia is a mild chronic bipolar affective disorder, and it is characterized by numerous episodes of mild elation and mild depressive symptoms. So, cyclothymia does not have severe symptoms of mania and it does not have severe symptoms of depression. It will have the numerous episode of mild elation and mild depressive symptoms that are not sufficiently severe or prolonged to meet the criteria for bipolar affective disorder. How we are saying that dysthymia does not have the criteria to be diagnosed as a major depressive disorder, like that the cyclothymia does not have the criteria to be diagnosed as a bipolar affective disorder because it is having mild depressive symptoms and mild manic symptoms. So this is very important about primary mood disorder. First one is cyclothymia. Okay, now come to the next condition. In secondary depression, I already told you the cause of the depression is not a psychiatric condition. It is because of a medical condition only. Otherwise, it is because of other psychiatric condition like substance abuse. So, secondary mood disorder comes not directly from the pathology, psychopathology. It comes from the other medical condition or from substance abuse disorders or because of other psychiatric condition. When patient have some other psychiatric condition, that psychiatric condition if not treated, that can lead to mood disorder. Then we say that is a secondary mood disorder. Example: alcohol abuse, substance abuse, medical conditions like anemia, hypothyroidism, hyperparathyroidism. So these also can lead to depression. That is called a secondary mood disorder. Once a diagnosis of mood disorder has been made, it is important to consider the possibility of it being a secondary mood disorder, as long as secondary mood disorder is often most effectively treated by the treating the primary condition. So the primary mood disorder treatment takes more time, whereas the primary mood disorder can be, sorry, the secondary mood disorder can be treated easily. If you treat the primary condition, the secondary mood disorder will not exist in a individual. So treatment of primary condition like anemia can cure the mood disorder. That is secondary mood disorder can be cured. Now come to the major depressive disorder. Major depressive disorder, short form MDD. It is also known as recurrent depressive disorder, clinical depression, major depression, unipolar depression or unipolar disorder. So these are the other names of major depressive disorder. And the other names are recurrent depressive disorder, clinical depression, major depression, unipolar depression, or unipolar disorder. So, the major depressive disorder is a state of low mood and aversion to activity that can affect a person's thoughts, behavior, feelings, and physical well being. So, it is a state in which the person mood is at very low mood and aversion towards activity. Patient with major depressive disorder does not like to do any activities. As a result of that, the person's thoughts are affected. When the thoughts are affected, his behavior is also going to be affected. Thoughts and behavior having interrelation. And because of thoughts and behavior affected, the person feeling will be affected. And automatically the physical well-being is also going to be affected because mental health and physical health are related, interrelated each other. Now, the history of major depressive disorder. In olden days, Hippocrates described a syndrome of melancholia as a distinct disease with a particular mental and physical symptoms. So, melancholia, the name was coined by Hippocrates. So, he says that this condition, melancholia, having the symptoms like depressive disorders, what we are studying today, that affects the mental as well as physical aspects of our body. Emil Kraepelin, he is the first person to overarching the term major depressive disorder. Depression, the term was coined by Emil Kraepelin. Like schizophrenia, we have studied. So like that, the term Emil Kraepelin was first the term Emil Kraepelin was first coined by, the term depression was first coined by Emil Kraepelin. So that refers to the melancholia, which is already told by Hippocrates. So this is about the history of major depressive disorder. Now we are going to see the epidemiology of depression. So the lifetime rate in adult is 12.3 percentage. So every adult having the chance of getting depression is 12.3 percentage in the lifetime. The males get 12.7 percentage risk, whereas women's get 21.3 percentage risk. So the gender wise, females get depression very easily, and they have the highest rate of prevalence. Suicide and depression is related with each other. So in the United States, 30,000 people suicide committing every year having depressive symptoms. 60% of the suicide occurs during a mood disorder episode. Usually the suicide happen not in the manic phase, it is happening in the depressive phase. Risk factor for coronary artery disease. Depression is the major risk factor for coronary artery disease. That is 17 to 27 percentage of the patient with coronary artery disease have major depression. So both are interrelated. Significantly larger percentage has subsyndromal symptoms of depression that we don't know, but we may have depression symptoms. Patients with coronary artery disease plus depression have 2 to 3-fold risk of future cardiac events comparing to the patients without depression of baseline cardiac dysfunction. So when these two problems are present at the same time, they have the highest risk, 2 to 3-fold risk for future cardiac problems. So this is about epidemiology of depression. Now let's see the causes. The causes of depression. There are lot of causes are there for depression. Let's see one by one. First one is the genetic cause. The prevalence rate of depression in the first degree relatives. Already I told you first degree relatives are parents, brother, sister is 15 percentage. But in case of others, that is only 5 percentage in the general population. So first degree is 15 percentage. And in the twins, when we see the dizygotic twins, 20 percentage chance. But in monozygotic twins, 46 percentage chance of getting depression. So this is the genetic study. First degree relatives 15 percentage, whereas general population having only 5 percentage risk. But the risk in the monozygotic twins is 46 percentage. In the dizygotic twins, it is only 20 percentage. Now, the neurochemical abnormalities, the monoamine hypothesis states that The theory, monoamine hypothesis of depression suggests that depression results from the depletion of monoamine neurotransmitter. When the monoamine neurotransmitters, noradrenaline, serotonin, dopamine, so these neurotransmitter depletion will cause depression. So monoamine neurotransmitters, noradrenaline, serotonin, dopamine, these deficit can cause depression. The next cause is other neurological abnormality like frontal and temporal lobe when it have less volume, like when there is enlargement of the ventricle, when there is abnormality in the basal ganglia and hippocampus, can leads to depressive major depressive disorder. So that we can identify from the CT scan and MRI findings of a person who is having depression. It was found that there is decreased volume in the frontal lobes and temporal lobe, and abnormalities have been detected in the hippocampus and basal ganglia, and the ventricle size also be enlarged. The next one is endocrine abnormality, very common problems in females for causing depression, endocrinal abnormality. Cushing syndrome, Addison disease, hypothyroidism, hyperparathyroidism. So these have the highest risk around 50 percentage. It is increasing the risk up to 50 percentage for causing depression. The next one is immune function. It was found that when the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, HPA axis, so that is not functioning properly in a depression patient. So when HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary axis, does not function properly, that can impair the immune system. So chronic stressor that lasts over a period of 1 or more years can compromise to poor immunity in our body. That leads to increased risk for developing physical illness, and by the way, it can create the likelihood of becoming depressed. So in the immune function, abnormal functioning of hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis leads to poor immune regulation, that leads to physical abnormalities which can cause depression. The next one is psychodynamic theory. Psychoanalyst says that when depression causes, when the depression is causing, when our anger is converted into self-hatred. I have some anger. When that anger is not able to resolve, that will be converted into self-hatred behavior. That is the anger turned inwards. I have anger towards other. When I could not resolve that anger will directed to me. That is, that anger is not going to affect other person. That will affect me only. That is called anger turned inward. When the anger conflict is not resolved properly, that leads to self-hatred behavior that may cause depression. The next one is object relation theory. According to object relation theory, depression is caused by problem people who have who have developed the unhealthy relationships. So depression is a consequence of ongoing struggle that depressed people endure in order to try and maintain emotional contact with desired object. When you have a close relation with a non-living object, that is not a sign of good interpersonal relationship. For any other objects, inanimate objects, non-living objects, if you are fighting and breaking the relationship, that will not going to be a healthy interpersonal relationships. That will leads to depression. That is object relation theory states that. So you keep your love towards human beings, not towards objects like mobile phone, not keeping your love and close attention towards the luxurious thing. That will not be a healthy relationship. Next one is the behavioral theory. So according to behavioral theory, any dysfunction or unhelpful behavior such as depression is learned. For example, you are learning the negative behaviors from the others, the negative relationship, the negative things which we learn from others can lead to abnormal behaviors which leads to depression. Like you are learning to use alcohol whenever you have problem, whenever you have stress, when your coping strategies are not working properly, when you have poor ego boundaries, so easily we learn the negative things from the others. So that is the behavioral theory hypothesis. The next one is cognitive theory. You know very well. When a person thinks everything negatively, negative thinking about himself, negative thinking about others, negative thinking about the future, negative thinking about the events, that may leads to faulty, that is faulty, irrational thoughts comes in your mind. As a result of that, you will have poor judgment, and that leads to depression. So this is about cognitive theory. According to cognitive behavioral theory, depressed people think differently than the non-depressed people. Non-depressed people think everything in a positive, optimistic way. Negative people have negative thoughts more that leads to depression and suicide. Social theory. Ethno-medical research suggests that cultural differences in focusing on oneself and one's place within the society hierarchy are linked to prevalence of depression. So in the society we have different cultures, different religions, different caste. So in the social hierarchy, when we see the lower person as in the different way, when we develop inferiority complex towards the social hierarchy, that leads a person to get depression very easily. So everybody has to think that all are same. But in our country, it is not happening like that. There are a lot of partialities, there are a lot of discriminations happening between the race, religion, community that leads to depression. Next one is we have the stress, depression, and trauma. Severe depression occur because of report more stressful events in your life. So when a person cannot overcome the stressful events in the day-to-day life, that can leads to depression. Similarly, one person who recover from the depression after some days when he again encounters the stressful events, that can lead to second depressive episodes. Lifestyle factor, you know very well, physical health is very very important to keep your mentally healthy. People who are not having physically healthy are increased risk of developing mental illnesses such as depression. Negative lifestyle factors like overweight, sedentary lifestyle, eating junk foods, drug abuse, overwork, workaholic, lack of exercise, poor diet, poor sleep, lack of leisure activities also leads to depression. The next cause is environmental factor. In the environment, we are facing now corona because of China. The various environmental stresses because of the catastrophic events, disasters, man-made disaster, terrorism. So that also leads to depression to those who are exposed to environmental factors. And the personality traits like neuroticism, the person who is having the personality characteristics of neuroticism and obsessionality are prone to develop depression very easily. And organic causes, like we have multiple causes like neurological causes like Alzheimer's disease, endocrinal causes like Cushing syndrome, Addison disease, hypothyroidism, hyperparathyroidism, metabolic causes like iron deficiency anemia, vitamin B12 deficiency anemia, and infective causes like influenza, HIV/AIDS, neoplastic causes like carcinoma, metastatic, non-metastatic carcinoma, drugs usage like repeated steroids usage, deoxin usage, cocaine abuse, alcohol abuse, narcotics usage can lead to depressive disorders very easily. So these are all the causes of depression. In the next video, I will teach you the major types of depressive disorder and the clinical manifestation for the depressive disorder. Meet you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.